All right, so let's get it popping with some boxing talk here, all right? So we had Gary Russell Jr. versus King Tug last night, but I'm gonna start off with the undercard first, all right? Now Jaime Arboleda, okay, checking his name out here versus Jason Velez, Puerto Rico's Jason Velez, and Jaime, he's from I think it's Panama, okay? Yeah, he's from Panama. Now, let me tell you, for a guy in Jason Velez, a guy who couldn't make weight, he could, he put on a pretty good show last night. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like he made the weight for the fight, but he just had trouble making the weight, coming down. All right. And usually that takes a lot out of a person. All right. It takes a lot out of them. But Jason Fellas, hey, he came in there to prove that, he belongs there. Okay. And, he wants to, be like his hometown uh, or a boxer from his hometown, and that's Miguel Cotto. I'm like, wow, never knew that. Now, some say that he looks a bit like, what was it, Angel Martinez? No, not Angel. Well, y'all know what I'm talking about, Martinez, but I didn't see that. However, Jason Velez and Jaime fight, I gave that fight to Jason Velez, you know what I'm saying? But just, about a round, it was close enough that it could have been a draw, and I wouldn't have been mad either. All right. And all right, they gave the fight to Arboleda. You know what I mean? Hey, it is what it is. Certain, how it is. Certain title holders get to keep their belts. All right. They get off. They get to slide with the win. All right. But and it's not going to continue to happen throughout their careers, okay? This was Jaime Arboleda's first big test, all right? And he didn't do all that good, and they were dropping bombs. Now, leaving that fight into the Guillermo Rigondeaux fight versus Solis, man, in the beginning, the first two rounds, it was very interesting. It looks like it was going to be a very competitive fight going down the stretch, but it ended up becoming boring. Now, I understand that Floyd Mayweather, he was a boring fighter to some, but at least Floyd, to me, he wasn't as boring as Guillermo Rigondeaux was last night. I mean, I actually fell asleep. I mean, the crowd woke me up when he had Solis in trouble. I opened my eyes up and seen that he had put dude down. I said, okay, all right. But after that, man, my eyes shut again. I mean, I basically missed the whole entire fight. I mean, that's how boring Gilmore was, all right, in that fight and everything. And by the time I opened up my eyes, it was Gary Russell Jr. and King Tug. But when I woke up, Gary Russell Jr., I seen him walking to the stage. He had the dancers out. To me, I think that was his showing for Black History Month. This is February and everything. A lot of people say it was from Eddie Murphy's movie Coming to America, but still, to me, I took it as a dedication to Black History Month. Man, okay, King Tug, for a guy who went into this fight with only 11 fights under his belt, he did a pretty good job. I mean, King Tug, he made a name for himself. For most people who haven't heard of him, okay, well, we know of him now. I mean, Gary Russell Jr., yeah, he outboxed, he outclassed King Tug and everything. But in the end, the scorecards were ridiculously high. All right, I'm like, hells no. And with the punch stat showing that Gary Russell Jr. only landed 12 punches more than King Tug. So I was thinking to myself, yeah, this fight was way much more closer than what the judges had it. Okay. Now, I was just waking up from the Rigondeaux versus Solis fight. All right. I mean, I was still kind of halfway asleep, halfway awake, when watching the, King Tug versus Russell Jr. fight. I mean, I ended up waking all the way up, before we got to the, 12th round and everything. That was a pretty good fight. All right. And with King Tugs, he's with Ishmael Solis. That's, well, what's my man's name? But he has the same trainer that the other fighter from Puerto Rico has. Sorry, I can't remember his name. I'll always make videos about this guy. I like him a lot. You know what I mean? Oh my goodness. Well, that's how it is when you in your 40s, man. You forget. I'm about to hit 50 pretty soon. And everything. But watch how I remember his name when I end this whole video. Oh my goodness. This is sad. But anyways, I was looking at the pressure he was putting on Gary Russell Jr. and everything. And then, when they started mixing it up and everything, I mean, they both was hitting pretty hard and whatnot. They, was dropping bombs and stuff. But I don't know, man. He really did make Gary Russell Jr. work, okay? And at the same time, as I'm looking at this, I'm thinking about him facing Gervonta Tank Davis. Gervonta Tank Davis has a lot of fights under his belt. That crap belts under his belt as well. And I believe Gervonta Davis, could give Gary Russell Jr. a run for the money. Now, I understand that, he didn't look all that good, in his last fight, Gervonta Davis, that is. But, hey, every fighter has an off night. Now, I don't know if Russell Jr. had an off night last night. I wouldn't say he did. I'd say he did pretty good. But, it was just that King Tug made him work. And, King Tug was still just a little inexperienced. He was still, kind of tight going in the very first rounds and whatnot. Where Gervonta Davis, I don't believe that he'll be all that tight, shook up going in the first rounds if he is to face Gary Russell Jr. Plus, we all heard him say he wants to rematch with Vasily Lomachenko. I don't know how that's going to happen, because Vasily Lomachenko is fighting at what, 135, 140? But then again, he did say that he was going to move back down. So maybe he'll get that fight there. You know what I'm saying? Even after watching him get pressured by a guy with only 11 fights, I still don't think he'll defeat Vasily Lomachenko. But hey, if he has the confidence in himself, go ahead and give it a shot. So anyways, that's my take on this Saturday night boxing, CMD boxing reports. Catch you guys on the next one.